Yes, indeed, folks. You're tuning in to Blue Please here on WoW Radio with myself, Total Biscuit. Now, just before the illusion of choice, I'm going to read out a couple more of these emails regarding the content damaging your guild and perhaps taking a break from WoW. I've got one here from Josh, also known as... Actually, it might not be him. Let's see. Yes, Clariza on Crush Ridge US. That's a girl's name. Seriously. Stop pretending. It's very mean. Now, he says this. Hey, TB. Just wanted to send you a quick message about taking a break from WoW. I recently took a break to play another game too, and decided to try out Lord of the Rings Online. This break helped me sit back and relax and have fun for once, because WoW had become a chore for me. Lord of the Rings Online gives a different feel to WoW, as I found the player base more helpful and nice, and the story definitely made the game for me. But it did not have the player backing like WoW, with add-ons and fan sites like WoW Ready and WoWhead. If they had more player backing, I don't know if I would have come back to WoW. That makes a very interesting point. Also, he asks to give a shout out to Chinodi on Crush Ridge US. There you go. Shout out so given. The interesting point that he's making there is that it's like, I wonder, would I have come back to WoW if they had all of this support? Well, that's interesting. I mean, Lord of the Rings Online doesn't allow add-ons. That's something you've got to bear in mind. There are no add-ons because they don't allow them to be there. Yeah. Now, is it the community that brought you back here? Because you said the community is more helpful and nice, but maybe the community here is a bit more creative and a bit more supportive of its game. I don't know. Maybe it is. Or did you come back here just because of all of the stuff, the outside meta stuff that's sprung up as a result of WoW? The wider community, as we call it. I don't know. It's an interesting point to muse on at any rate. Now, we'll do one more before we do the illusion of choice, and that's this. This one comes from Panicmonger from Ocean Dome EU, and he says this. Hey TB, I just tuned into WoW Radio for the first time tonight and heard you talk about raid issues. A lot of guilds have right now, and you nailed it. It's a shame that WoW has turned into what it has now, and it's killing raiders. I myself have cleared an Extramus pre-DBC and loved it, but when I ran through it in Wrath, I couldn't help but let go some tears. That's a bit excessive, don't you think? Anyway, it's pathetic what they did to the best raid ever, and since it's basically the only proper raid in Wrath, it gets mind-numbing pretty damn fast. Some of our core players quit or took breaks from Old War, until Old War at any rate. We can easily manage without them, but it just sucks. I don't miss their character, but I miss them as a person. Enough with the emotions, though. What you said about the somewhat higher-ranking guilds and their egos clashing is right on. We have the same problem. When we can progress, we are flawless, but when we're stuck like this, we tend to nerd rage over the smallest things. Our guild in a normal state is already incredibly hostile, in a fun sort of competitive manner, but they are all pretty damn good at arguing, and if they clash, it's scary, myself included. I have not taken a break, and I don't want to take one either, despite it being insanely tedious. Everything was fine when we all got the server first kills, scored world top 50 and stuff like that, but now we're just ants. Next to that, we also have some guilds who are trying to compete with us, some made only to beat us. We know we're better, but with all of this stress coming at us, some of us might give in. Oh well, I'm starting to rant, I'm not making too much sense either. P.S. We killed a fair few Old War bosses, and so far, it's so-so. That's from Panicmonger, Ocean Dome EU. Well, again, the hard modes, I think, will probably give a little bit more action in that respect, and yes, I imagine some of the bosses will be a bit so-so, a bit easy, but I would hope that there will be enough in there to justify. You know, there's 14 bosses, some of them have got to be pretty fun, and I'm hoping hard modes will make a difference there. But yeah, I do see the point. Something that I noticed was that I think our guild is actually getting worse as a result of doing poorly tuned content, and by poorly tuned I'm meaning too easy. We're slacking, and we're not as good as we used to be. I'm pretty sure that I used to be way better. You know, I make the occasional silly mistake, and I'm like, I would have never made this in AQ40. I would have never made this in Black Temple. I'd have been 100% alert 100% of the time. Because that's what the instance allowed me to do, because it was hard enough to justify it. But with this stuff, no. No, I can't justify really focusing that much, because I'm just not enjoying it so much. Oh well, roll on Old War. Time for the illusion of choice! Yes, indeed. This one is from Bunkerface, who's actually sitting in my room right now. Say hello!
Hey there!
Yes, indeed. One of the listeners. He's over in England to visit some friends down in London, as I recall.
Yeah, true.
Yep, going down to London to see the sights, and so he saw the sights of Newcastle, of which were consisted mostly of rain, Pizza Hut, and game stores. It was awesome. Oh, anyway. So, he actually provided me an illusion of choice in writing, which is the first time that's ever happened. If you do want to send me mail, I'll set up a P.O. box for you, seriously. And you could send me a pigeon, and you could put it in my mailbox if you so wish. Now, he even has a title called The Grand Conspiracy. I don't think this is a conspiracy, really. Do you honestly think this is a conspiracy?
No.
No, you don't. You just made it up.
No.
There you go. Now, he says this. Will Blizzard make achievement points spendable as a reaction to the feud about achievement points being important or not within raids? I'm of course talking about spending them on gear and other tangible stuff. That's a great question. It's been something that Blizzard has been planning for a while. They have been saying that they will allow you to spend achievement points on stuff, yeah? They weren't specific as to what, but on stuff. Now, what they did say from the start, and I think this might be something they may change, is that achievement points would only be spent on things that did not affect your character. So like pets and titles and stuff like that. Now even that though would give a reason for people to earn achievement points. It would give a reason for them to do this stuff because there is a reward and they might like it. Say they gave an option of 20 pets that required 3,000 achievement points each or something ridiculous like that. And they were all pretty cool. Like you could have a pet octopus on a motorcycle with lightsabers. How about that? That would be a great idea. Or you could have a pet floating evil Ashbringer sword. You know, a mini Ashbringer, like a little chibi Ashbringer. All sorts of stuff like that. A tiny angry Arthas that would run alongside you, screaming at you, saying he was going to dominate the world in a really squeaky accent. I can simulate this right now. Something like that. Something to that effect. Yes, facepalm. Now, that's the kind of thing that some players, including raiders, might go for. Particularly if there's a lot of them, there's a lot of variety, and it takes quite a bit of work to get it. That's the kind of thing they may go for. They like doing that with rare mounts, for instance. Rare mounts are something that raiders like. Pets, perhaps not so much, but if they were cool enough, then maybe. Just maybe. I don't think that, at least they initially said they wouldn't give gear, but I think this is something that they could possibly change. Because the achievements now, some of the stuff that you've got, indicates very clearly the rate of progression that you are going at and what you have achieved. Oh look, achievements are indicating what you have achieved. Shock horror. Never expected that to happen, did we? But say you've beaten Saltharian 3 Drakes, yeah? Now, would that, in your opinion, and this is a completely rhetorical question because I'm not going to allow you to answer it, would that justify you receiving gear that's like maybe tier 7, 7.5 style level, yeah, from achievement points? Spending achievement points to maybe fill in gaps in your gear. Is that justifiable when you have the achievement for Saltharian 3 Drakes? So you're taking away from the argument the element of, oh well, you are giving gear for running around and kissing people 10 times, or hugging animals or stuff like that? And of course the response is, well, the thing is, these guys have already done all of this stuff. So why not reward them with that gear for doing silly things? Don't reward people who just do silly things. That's silly. Now, don't give them anything worthwhile. Give them pets or whatever. Give them novelty items, cosmetics. But don't give them raid gear. I suppose you could maybe argue that. Now, the other point is that it would give some players tangible to shoot for, and it would soften or lessen the argument between raiders. You know, we can divide them into the new school of raiders and the old school of raiders. The old school of raiders doesn't care about achievements, because that's not what we've been doing for the past 4 years. We've been killing bosses and getting loot. The new school of raiders is like, oh, we should do it this, we should try this. And there's conflict between the two of them, because they don't share the same opinion by any stretch of the imagination. And from the old school, I think achievements are silly. It's like, achievements are technically already existed. If I wanted to, I could have done... You know, let's just say this. If I wanted to, I could have done Baron Geddon while blowing up 5 other members of my raid. That's an achievement. That's the same kind of silly stuff, yeah? Or I could have done Major Domo without crowd controlling anything, yeah? There's another achievement. It's a similar kind of thing. I could have done that, but if I'd asked somebody to do that in classic WoW, they'd have looked at me like I was on crack. It's like, what the hell? Why would you do such a thing? That's stupid. Get out of the guild. But you try and do it now just because you get a merit badge for it and suddenly it's a legitimate form of content. Some people don't agree with that. You could legitimize it by giving tangible rewards. That might work. I still think there's going to be a split, but I think that at least the old school raiders would see the point a little bit more. Now, I'm not saying that either playstyle is right or wrong, because the new school is equally valid. Some people like to get achievements. That's cool. I don't object to the achievement system being there on principle. What I've always objected to, certainly over the past several months, is the people that say, oh, well, you haven't done all the content because you haven't done all the achievements. Because it's optional content that serves no practical purpose other than the personal gratification of some, not all, of the player base. It's very important to remember that. Don't think anyone's right or wrong on the issue, but everyone is entitled to their opinion, and the old school particularly are used to a certain way of going about things, and you can't simply ask them to change at the drop of a hat. This may help the transition. It may make achievements more acceptable. So yeah, I think that's a good suggestion. Blizzard, if you're listening, and I know you are, have a think about it. Shout out time, folks, for the last 5 minutes of the show. You can email linthemurloc@gmail.com. That is themurloc@gmail.com if you wish to have a shout out on this particular show, or you can PM me on IRC. That's irc.mmorc.com, # wow radio, or click the chat button at the top of the screen on wcradio.com. Alternatively, you can tweet me. Just wash your hands afterwards, eh? You can tweet me via twitter.com/TotalBiscuit for shoutouts. In the meantime, a shout out to all of the enthusiastic Arcanist Belt applicants that have been whispering at me in game a lot. Yes, there are like 52 applicants. If any of the guys who have applied to Arcanist Belt are actually listening and have not previously been in the guild, you're accepted. All of you. Every last one of you. I am going to be on Sunday. Yeah? I'm going to log in on Sunday at 4 p.m. server time. Right? If you want to be an Arcanist Belt and you want to start leveling up, because we need some extra players, because we've got a bunch of people who have just basically gone off to, let their WoW subscription lapse, so we're a bit short. If you want to be an Arcanist Belt, and you've applied on the website, and you haven't been kicked out of the guild already, yeah? I'm not re-inviting the people that we kicked for sucking or being terrible. Then come to Anachronos at 4 p.m. server time on Sunday, and I will invite you. Or Iomo will invite you. That's EU Anachronos, by the way. I will invite you, or Iomo will invite you, or any of the officers, so you can whisper myself, Total Biscuit, or Iomo. Because apparently he loves being spammed. He's a massive fan of it. So yeah, do that, come level up with us, and come have some fun in the old school raids. I'm sure you will enjoy it. Now, shout out time. Shout out to Galafor, Arcanon, and Lolo G for having epic WoW LAN parties. I never really understood that, but I suppose there could be some appeal in throwing bricks at the guy who's just stolen your epic. Can I get a shout out to Duncorp and to High Grade, my guild on Masrigo EU? That's from Limus. Yes, you can. Masrigo for the win. Please shout out to the Horde content on Duskwood, and to yourself because you're rock saw, whatever that means. Can I get a shout out to Snickerschnee? Is that the way you pronounce it? Snickerschnee, yes. And shout out to my guild, HAKD, and Great Show TV, that's from Snickerschnee. A shout out to the Cardboard again, and a shout out to everyone on the IRC channel, to everyone who are studying for their exams. Why does Blizzard always release new content at the same time as universities have exams? The answer, Dayster, is because they hate you and they want you to fail. And they also don't like Denmark. A shout out to Grom Hellscream, teach the ancestors to scream like a true orc. Rah. A shout out to a bunch of random blogs, such as Aspect of the Hair and Skeleton Jack, of most of all to BRK, who apparently almost wrecked his marriage by playing too much WoW. Quit it. You're a talented guy, we want you back. So go and get it sorted out and come back. That's from Archeon, from the Cult of Emrats. A shout out to BlizzCon 2009, and a shout out to Random Loot on Thorazin US for taunting Grobulus and wiping the raid on an immortal attempt. Awesome Ret Paladin. You suck. A shout out to TB, the great show from Excelterigo. Still the best and sexiest mage in the US. That is debatable, because I have a US alt. A shout out to Uldum US, the foul pit that spawned Elite Maiden. Good lord. That sounds rather terrifying to me. I want to give a shout out to you for actually reading my mail. That's from Risiki. How about I retroactively do not read your mail? A shout out to Galafor, Arcan... No, that's the same one! Don't send me an email and a shout-out to increase your chances. That's evil. A shout-out to Pipo, to his guild, Inner Focus, on Loon US, who is proud to be going to Ulduar completely blind. He is hoping we set a trend. That sound was terrifying. The tiny squeaky Arthur's pet. Good freaking grief, I want one. That's from Dienta. Yes, the power of... What's the word? Ad-lib. That's rather ironic. I've completely forgotten what I was going to say. I'm out here, guys. My name's Dalt Biscuit. You've been listening to Blue Please on WCRadio.com. Check out our other fine shows on iTunes and on WCRadio.com. If you feel like donating, you can do so. WildRadioDonations@gmail.com via PayPal. The next show to come up today will, of course, be the one and only Wild Things Considered, 7 p.m. EST, only on WCRadio.com. Thanks for listening, guys. You've been a fantastic audience. Good night.